everybody, and welcome to the Spiritual Handyman Internet TV show. My name is Jason Antelek, and I am your host. Today, we are going to be talking to Susanah Magdalena about essential oils. Remind everybody out there that we are available on YouTube. A new episode gets posted every Thursday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. You can also catch us on Facebook and Instagram. We do appreciate that you like, share, subscribe, get involved in the community, leave comments on the videos. It's helpful to others, and it allows us to show up in more places. So we are looking to get over 100 subscribers. If we haven't already, please run out and subscribe right away. Before we get started with today's discussion, I would like to address that the disclaimer on this episode is that Susanah and I have no intentions of dispensing medical advice. We are not doctors, nor would we have you shy away from seeing your doctor or implementing essential oils in your life in any way without discussing that with your practitioner. Also, we are not supporting any specific companies or nor are we sponsored by anybody. That we have no agenda around the companies that we may or may not bring up in our discussion. It really is just about our experience and our personal time and journey with the essential oils. So all that being said, recognizing that that is our disclaimer, Susanah, please introduce yourself and let everybody know a little bit about your journey with essential oils.
As Jason said, I'm Susanah Magdalena. I'm of the Beloved Heart Source. That's my company. I was introduced to essential oils over 25 years ago. And when that happened, I had someone who was mutually known in the community, wasn't really a friend at the time, she is now, but was someone I knew in the metaphysical healing community when I still lived in Houston, Texas. She came to me one day and she said, "I'd really like to sit down with you and share about essential oils." And I was thinking, oh, probably not. This was going on in my head. I just don't want to buy anything else right now. Well, anyway, so she and I crossed paths again a while down the road, and she again said, "I would really like to sit down with you." And so finally I said, okay. So what she shared with me was quite profound for me at the time, because I had used essential oils in the past, like lavender or ylang ylang, or different oils that we know about and that we're comfortable with. I'd used them in my bath and things like that, and they smelled good. But I really didn't understand what was going on in an aromatherapy type of situation. Well, this woman began to tell me her story, and I know that stories or testimonials are something that that are kind of frowned upon now because of being FDA compliant. But she told me a personal story about how essential oils had worked for her in a therapeutic way that changed my mind on essential oils. It was very profound. Then, and at this time, there were essential oils that we could buy in the health food stores and that kind of thing, but there might be just a little space on a shelf with them, maybe 2 shelves. It's not like it is now, and you go in and there's all kinds of choices. It wasn't like that then. And so she was sharing with me about Young Living essential oils. And so I got so passionate and so excited, I wanted to buy the big giant everything set that was almost $2,000. And she was like, no, that's probably not a good plan. She said, because I've had people before buy that set, and it was too overwhelming trying to learn about the oils and understand what they were doing, that they wound up not even using their oils. And she actually had bought those giant sets back. So I started with one little kit that at the time was called the Essential 7 kit. And in the Essential 7 kit was lavender, lemon, peppermint. I believe those were the 3 single oils. Then there were blends. There was Panaway, there was Thieves, there was Peace and Calming, and Valor. So those were the 7 oils of single oils and blends that we got in that initial kit. And so I took that kit and I started researching everything about it, using them on me, on my daughter, on my pets. I started working with everything. And it was just a lot of fun and interesting. At the time, also, another reason why I got so passionate about this was I've always loved the aspect of frequency. And what Gary Young with Young Living Essential Oils was doing at the time was he was all excited about frequency. He's an R&D man, if you didn't know that, but he loves that aspect. And so he was working with frequencies of oils. He had gotten hold of a meter from a Dr. Tanio, who was an agronomist at Washington State University. And as an agronomist, what Dr. Tanio was trying to do with this meter was he was trying to find out the frequency of different seeds to try to see if higher frequency seeds would bring forth a better yield. Well, when Gary got hold of this meter, he started measuring everything. He was measuring frequencies of essential oils, frequency of plant source before distillation, through distillation, after distillation. He heightened his distillation process during this time as well, because before there had been a rule of thought that after distillation, because such a high heat is used to distill essential oils, that it lost all that plant life force frequency. Well, Gary found out different. He was going out with this meter and he was having people go out in the lavender fields in Utah and in Idaho, and he was having them cut by hand and cut by a tractor to see if the plant source material had a different frequency. He was doing it at full moon, new moon, no moon. He was doing it at all different times to see if it changed the frequency of the plant material. And then he was constantly working with maintaining frequency through distillation. So I got very excited about it because, like I said, I loved frequency. So that made me feel like what these oils offered at that time was unique and something quite extraordinary. Now, though, there is an open avenue to different essential oils that have taken a lot of these principles and applied them. So we do have choices now of good, viable oils that we might not have had at that time. So I applaud and I'm in gratitude for Gary Young and people like him who are mavericks, who are pioneers, who bring in something new that changes our world and our viewpoint on how things are brought into our world.
Well, thank you for sharing that part of your journey and all that information. And I know that you've been passionate about essential oils for a really long time. And it has finally transferred to me. I've started really studying and diving in and recognizing what to do. And recently I have experienced all these crazy questions. The first thing is, what are essential oils? Why is this bottle of lemon different than the lemon I'm holding in my hand? So help us understand, help our viewers and listeners relate to what does that mean, and why does it matter that you get it from this place rather than buy it in the store?
Well, I don't really poo-poo buying it in the store anymore as much as I used to. But let's go back to the original, kind of the beginning of the question of why this bottle versus just a lemon. So it's because what's in this bottle is highly, highly condensed. And it's taken from a part of that lemon, and the majority of that in the regards with lemon is taken from the rind. So it's all of that essential, if you take a rind and you cut it off your lemon or your orange or any citrus fruit, and you cut that rind off, if you get like a spoon or something and you push it into that rind, you'll see that kind of oily liquid come up. So that's kind of what you get, but you get it in such a concentrated way that in the bottle, the concentration makes it more viable and usable for the body than just a lemon. I love lemons, and lemon essential oil is probably one of the most, I'm glad you brought that one up. It's one of the most affordable oils that we can get, but it's also one of the most versatile oils. It can be used for cleaning your countertops. You know, if you put some on a rag or you put it in a spray bottle, it'll freshen your laundry. Now, you don't just want to dump a bottle in. You want that water to be full in your agitator, and that it be agitating, and then add that in so it disperses it, so it doesn't just get clumped onto one piece of clothing. But it's good for colds, supporting the immune system, so we're more healthy with colds and flus type of situation. I have heard of that there are teachers who are putting in a spray bottle or putting drops on a rag and wiping off their students' desks just for cleanliness and to help, you know, with the whole germ situation of children. It also, there's parts in it, if you break it down and you understand the constituents that are involved in every essential oil. Lemon has a constituent that's called limonene, and the limonene actually has been researched to help support the body's health in regards to cancer as well. So there's like I said, lemon's just kind of across the board thing. Plus you just smell that and you feel better because it smells good. You're like, oh, lemon, you know, it's kind of like lemon tree, very pretty. So you just sit and you just sniff it. There's a song for everything. So
and I didn't even have to prompt you. I got you. You sang on your own. I didn't even have to make it happen. Thank you for bringing singing to the Spiritual Handyman Internet TV show.
There's a song for everything, but lemon is an amazing oil. Now, the second part of this question was, you know, why buy it, you know, in the store or elsewhere? Well, the store, you have to keep this in mind that I don't perpetuate that if things are expensive that they're the best. That's not always the case. But sometimes it does reflect on quality and what's actually been done with it. So if you go to the health food store or whatever and you find a bottle of oil that's, say, that big and that fat and it's $5, well, it might be okay, but it might not be okay. There are really no rules or regulations on essential oils. So that's basically kind of a good thing and a problem. It's kind of a dual aspect. You know, I don't really like the FDA coming in and clamping down on everything we use. But on the other side of that, when there's no guidelines, you don't know what you're getting. So if you get a bottle that's that big and it's $5 and it says pure lemon essential oil, we'll just go with lemon. It just says pure lemon essential oil. Well, you have to understand that because there's no guidelines, it could have one drop of pure essential oil in there and the rest of it cut with some kind of carrier oil such as jojoba or something like that. So just know and understand and really research your oils. One brand in particular I researched a couple of years ago, Acacia, which is a good brand of oils. Don't get me wrong with what I'm about to say. They have different lines, though. They have like tiers of lines. And I went on their website and I found this information out. So it was through them. It's not through anything anyone's told me. I found it on their website. So I ask you to go on these different companies' websites and look at it. But Acacia has these different tiers. And when I looked at like their frankincense, which is in their upper tier, the price is actually quite comparable to that of Young Living. It's not that much less expensive or more expensive. It's right in the ballpark. But it is cut with jojoba, and they say it on their website, or they did 2 years ago. I haven't looked lately, so please look, because I could be completely wrong. And they said it was cut, you know, so that means there's some a carrier in there as well, which that's not a bad thing. It helps it to blend through the body, but just know that that price includes not just a full bottle of that oil, but it also has that carrier too. So just do your own research and what you resonate with, because like I said, there are amazing oils out there and different companies that are adhering to some beautiful guidelines. There's organic oils now, there's non-GMO oils, and Young Living's getting on board with that too. They have a seed to seal process that's always been kind of their standard of quality. But a few years ago, they introduced a vitality line that can be taken internally, legally, and through FDA guidelines. And those now are labeled non-GMO. That's been something recent that's happened. So things are happening all the time and shifting and changing with all the companies.
And you bring up some really good points that I definitely want to share with our viewers and listeners. And one of those specifically is that it's highly concentrated. And don't assume that an oil isn't it isn't at its concentrated level just because it's cheaper, right? So like she said, doing the research for yourself. And a lot of folks that use essential oils and really are advocates for that in daily life will tell you, find out for yourself, do the research for yourself, because it's a personal decision. And if you want to go with a company that has been around a long time, you may find that their prices may be a little higher, but there's a reason for that. There's a reputation that comes with that. One of the things that I discovered in my research, which has been extensive, I've read lots of websites, I've been to lots of places, I've asked lots of friends, but the reality is you got to decide for yourself. But there is testing that is done. And there's two different kinds of testing that I want to share with you. And there's one that Susanah has referred to as that seed to seal. And that is the process that is proprietary to Young Living. That is their testing. And there are lots of companies that have very similar standards that they abide by. And there's also companies that have that, and they have their own third-party testing results that they will post on their website. If you are looking into a specific type of oil and you found a website and they have that testing, I would tell you that that is a really good sign that they care about the quality, they care about the concentration, that they're actually looking at what they're producing, how they're producing it, and what they're giving to the consumer. And in turn, that is going to maintain whether the high vibration of the oils, what it's supposed to do, what it's not supposed to do, it's going to keep those things in alignment for you. So it really is a very personal decision. And it doesn't mean that you can't get oils from wherever and that they won't be effective, right? They're still effective. Remembering that they're highly concentrated. So certain things that you do with them, in fact, most things that you do with them, it's required that you dilute them, because a drop of oil on your skin can affect your skin, right? So you've got to do it kind of like you would a test for fabric, right? Take a little bit of the lavender oil and try it in a very small place on your body, and make sure that you don't have an adverse reaction. Now, lavender is one of those that really applies to everything, right? It's kind of an all-purpose oil. It's a great starter oil, but something like cinnamon oil is a very hot oil, and you want to test it because it can irritate your skin. It can be in too high of a concentration in something that you use, whether you're cooking or whatever application. So you just have to be aware of what you're getting into. That brings me to a really good question, Susanah. Somebody that's wanting to get into essential oils, it's really easy, like you said, let me get the big kit, get all the pieces and parts, right? And for me, I know that there were some specific things that I wanted to address that I knew what oils to go to. But what's the starter kit? What are the really good oils to begin with? Just a handful.
I always talk about single oils to start with, because the blends are just blended with a number of single oils. And I really feel like you need to know and understand the single oils first before working with the blends, because you're not going to understand what that blend is really doing until you understand the single oils. Of course, like we talked about, lemon, that's always a beautiful oil to start with. Lavender, you brought up lavender. Lavender, like we said, is an all-purpose oil. You can use it for cuts, owies, all kinds of things. You can use it on children. Always dilute it with children. Lavender is also an amazing oil for burns. I talk about lavender a lot, but lavender, what it does is you put it on, like if you burn yourself in the kitchen or something like that, if you put the lavender on, you will normally have to apply it a few times, so apply it, wait 5 or 10 minutes, apply it again, and just keep applying layers of it. And what you'll notice is that the redness will stop getting redder. It will start subsiding because what it's doing is it's reducing that heat or that inflammation that's happened in the skin. And you will actually see, and I have seen this, so this is something I've experienced, you will see that burn stopping the burning process so it doesn't go further, because it does help reduce the heat in it, but it also is tissue regenerating, so it's helping to heal that damaged tissue from the burn. So it's really good for physical things. It's good emotionally. It will help lift you. A lot of people don't really like the smell of lavender, and I think that's because it was often used in like our grandmother's sachets in the drawers and things like that. So to my husband in particular, he says it just smells like an old person's house to him. So, and I think that's why, and we've talked about that, and he said his grandmother did have lavender sachets in her drawers. And so, but it's also spiritually uplifting. Lavender is kind of mid-range and all over. So lavender is a wonderful oil to start with. Peppermint. Peppermint does all kinds of things. Peppermint is cooling to the body. I know that when my daughter was younger, and when she would get fever or something like that, you can get the peppermint, dilute it, as I said, with children. You can put it on the bottom of their feet if you'd like and see if that helps to reduce the fever. If it doesn't, you can also put it down their spine. Now, it will make them feel cold too, because lavender will cool your body, so you want to make sure that you cover them up so they won't get a chill. But you'll see that it can help to reduce the body temperature or help to bring it back to normal state. You can use lavender on, you can just use peppermint in so many ways. I was kind of addicted to nose spray. My nose was always stopped up. And so my ex-husband said, well, I think if you just use that peppermint, it might help. So I went away to my mom's for a weekend, and he wasn't with me. And I put my nose spray in my purse, and I had my peppermint around with me. And I put it just a little teeny bit on my nose because, like Jason mentioned, peppermint is not really considered a hot oil, but it can be hot if you're not careful. So I put a little, especially in, this is kind of sensitive, so I put just a little bit on there, and it would just open up my airwaves. And I did that for the whole 3-4 days I was at my mom's. And when I left, I didn't have to use the nose spray anymore. So anyway, so I kept the peppermint with me, though, all the time for quite a while until that nose spray situation started to heal. But those are the 3 oils I would probably say to really start with, because those are good oils to learn, to love, to bring into your life in practical everyday application. I know going back to lavender, I had a sunburn one time. I got really bad sunburn. And so I mixed it with like sunburn cream. I mixed the lavender in there, and I just put it like all over my sunburn. And it really helped to reduce that heat and to bring that sunburn down, where I did not blister when I think I probably would have otherwise.
And you bring up a really interesting point there that I definitely want to touch on for just a minute, is about the dilution process. And there's what we refer to as carrier oils, and you can't just put a few drops in water, and because oil and water are obviously, they don't mix. So There are other ways to apply, either topically or to take internally. And you need to know your oils before you do these things, folks. You got to try them out and start small. That's why you start with something that you know is good for lots of different things. Start simple, and then you can expand your oil knowledge, a little bit at a time. Those three are fabulous. And I will say that for carrier oil, personally, I love jojoba oil because I use it as a face cleanser. And I recently have added lavender and peppermint to that, and it's really powerful. But I have to be really careful about how much you put in there, right? So, Susanah, what are some other really good carriers for essential oils for topical use, and what kind of give us an idea of what the process would look like?
So we're going to talk about first, so when you get your bottle of essential oil, they always come in a little glass bottle. And the reason they come in glass and not plastic is because the essential oils will actually break the plastic down. And so what happens is if they're in plastic and it breaks the plastic down, then that plastic material winds up within your essential oil. So before you do anything, you want to make sure you're doing this in glass bottles. So what you're going to do is you can use, like Jason mentioned, jojoba. Jojoba is a great oil to use. You can use coconut oil, you can use almond seed oil, grapeseed oil, whatever type of oil that you already use and love, then that's what you can mix your essential oils in. Now, you can get bottles and you can buy them at health food stores, or you can buy them on Amazon or different places source bottles. Now that's another thing that's much easier to get now than it used to be. We had to go through special wholesalers and get these bottles, but now they're everywhere. But you can get bottles in different ounces and they'll have a little dropper in them or a spray. But if you're going to use them as an oil, you're going to want to put them in a bottle with a dropper. You can mix them in your little bottle. You can put half or 3/4 of the carrier in the bottle and then mix whatever oils you want in there, or one oil, and just use it that way. Or this is more what I do, is you can just get your carrier, put that in your palm, like a good dime or quarter size, however much of your body you're going to do. If you're just going to put some on a little blemish on your face, of course you're just going to want a little bit. But if you're going to rub it on your child's bottom of their feet or the bottom of your feet, you're going to want a little bit more. And then just put a drop or two of the essential oil into your palm with that, and then mix it with your finger in a clockwise motion so that you keep that energy of that oil flowing in that clockwise way. And then you can just rub your hands together and just rub them on your body or where you want. Now, I want to bring up something really quick here. Since we're talking about application, I want to talk about animals really quick. More and more people are using essential oils with animals, and they're wonderful on animals. They are. Dogs and horses in particular, pretty much anything that a human can use and how we apply it to our bodies can be used for dogs and horses kind of in the same way. You will always want to dilute it for dogs just because that smell is so intense. And you want to make sure that if it's an oil that's ingestible by a human, that it's okay for your dog as well, or your horse. But you don't want to put tea tree is one of the oils that's not really recommended to ingest. So you don't want to put that on your dogs, because even if it's on an owie or something like that, because your dog's going to lick that. So you want to be careful with that. You want to dilute it. They're not going to like it because the smell is so intense. You can put it on their paws, though. That's a good place to put it because it'll go up into their system through their paws. Now, cats. You will hear different people that say they use oils on cats and different people that say do not ever use oils on cats. You really have to understand oils before you start using on cats. So if you're just starting out with oils, please just rule of thumb, don't use them on your cats. I've done this before where there's certain oils that are okay for cats, and I will just my brother had, I don't have cats, but my brother had a cat, and I lived with my brother for a while. And I would just take those oils out in the bottle. I wouldn't even open the bottle, and I would just lay them out on the bed. And that cat would come up on the bed, and it would paw away the ones it didn't like, and it would find that bottle that it liked, and it would roll around on that bottle.
That's a pretty clear sign, I'd say.
I know. So, and I didn't really even have to open up the bottle, because I felt like just the frequency from the oil in that bottle was benefiting that cat. If there was anything, from my hands on the outside of the bottle, the cat was getting that as well. Now, birds, you want to be really, 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 really careful on birds. You never want to use oils on birds or around birds. If you have birds in a room, in a cage, you don't even want to diffuse essential oils, because the oils are very toxic to birds. It's kind of like when they tell you, don't cook with certain types of pans in your kitchen that have like Teflon lining or something like that with birds in the room, because they're really, really susceptible. Same thing with essential oils. You want to be really careful with your birds. So I just wanted to add that about animals, really.
Right, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. And the real takeaway here, everybody, is that you need to understand the oils for yourself and use them for yourself before you move to any applications on other people, whether that's children or other adults or animals, to really have an understanding and take it slow, take it at your own pace. And take the time to learn about the dilution and what that needs to look like. Find a book at the library or online, and try different things for yourself. One thing I want to add before we conclude for today is that essential oils work differently for everybody. And it's your physical makeup and the things that are in your body, what you put in your body, your hydration, where you're from, your genealogy, everything is a factor. So something that works for you, lavender is a great example. You can smell it and feel calm. You may hand it to somebody else to smell, and it's like a cup of coffee to them. And it's absolutely a real thing. So just be aware that it's different for each person. Take the time to understand them. They are amazing tools in your life, and they can have immediate effects that are, we've barely scratched the surface of any of the information. So while there is cautionary tales along with this, recognize for yourselves that taking the time to bring them into your life is very powerful, and you can do it in so many different ways. So Susanah, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your knowledge and experience with the essential oils. And I'd also like to take a quick opportunity to have you tell people how they can reach out to you through your website, through what other things you might do, classes that you offer, those sorts of things.
You can always find out how to contact me through thebelovedheartsource.com, so check that website out. I do have a little piece on there about essential oils. If you ever have any questions, please contact me, email me, thebelovedheartsource@gmail.com. Here at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts in Littleton, the last Thursday evening of each month, Violet Rain and I will be offering information and teachings regarding the oils. So please look at the meetup, our Facebook for Discover Your Spiritual Gifts, and you can find out what we're presenting and what's happening. This month, the last Thursday, I will actually be presenting about emotional oils and how to use them. I will be working with blends. We're going to talk about how to use these oils in different ways, including auricular points, which are the points in your ear. And we'll also be talking about how to apply that and work with that with EFT, with the tapping. So that's going to be fun and interesting. So again, the last Thursday of the month. I'm also moving my practice from Discover Your Spiritual Gifts. I'm not leaving Discover Your Spiritual Gifts, just leaving my practice. And I'm going to be in Westminster. So I will be having classes monthly there as well regarding essential oils. So please check out the Beloved Heart Source on Facebook or on Meetup, and you can find out when those are going to be held. I'll be starting those in April.
Awesome. Thank you so much for all that information. And those links will be available in the description below the video. So you can check that out in the description for yourself and find out more. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Thank you again, Susanah, for your expertise and sharing your daily tools with us. And remember that here at the Spiritual Handyman, it's all about putting spiritual tools into the hands of the people that need them. Take an opportunity real quick after the video, please, to like, subscribe, comment, share, push all the cool buttons, have all the fun, and help build the community. And we will see you next episode.
The Spiritual Handyman, bringing spiritual tools to the hands of the people who need them. Sponsored by the Eagle Heart Foundation. The Eagle Heart Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that brings charitable contributions and educational enhancements to the people. So how can you be a part of the Spiritual Handyman and the Eagle Heart Foundation? The Triple Win Situation. This book was written by Granddaughter Crow, and half of the proceeds go to the Eagle Heart Foundation, which in turn sponsors the Spiritual Handyman. How to get it one? It's on Amazon and Kindle for only $9.99. So we are here to bring tools to you. Thank you so much, Spiritual Handyman. We believe in what you do.